Friends and colleagues, brothers and sisters, dear families of the hostages, what the people of Israel have endured over the past 6 days has been far worse than our most horrifying nightmare. We experienced our darkest moment since the Holocaust. Barbaric Hamas terrorists invaded our homeland to exterminate us like insects. Men, women, children, the elderly, not even newborn babies were spared. Entire communities have been erased. The savagery is unfathomable, and the numbers are truly staggering. Over 1,300 have been butchered. Butchered exactly like the Nazi death squads of Europe, but this time by savage Hamas monsters. Tragically, this is not even the full extent of their sadistic evil. These ISIS-like Hamas terrorists kidnapped innocent Israelis, mothers and their babies, babies without their mothers, elderly grandparents, entire families. The horror and agony that our country is suffering pales to the darkness that the hostages' families are enduring. Rabbi Vysotsky, Liam, and Alana Zaychik, Yoni Asher, our hearts are with you. Every fiber of our being is with you. The strength that you have shown to be here, to share the stories of your loved ones, is truly awe-inspiring. Thank you for being here, and thank you for spreading the truth to the world. The world cannot look away. We cannot close our eyes to this savagery anymore. Dear colleagues, try to put yourselves in the shoes of those suffering. What if your child, your baby, was being held now in Gaza by a genocidal jihadist organization? What if it was your parents? What would you do? What would your country do? Israel is fully committed to bringing the hostages home and to obliterating Hamas's terror capabilities. No, not for revenge, not for retaliation, only to ensure that such atrocities never occur again, not in Israel and not in any other country. Israel, dear colleagues, is at the forefront of the war on radical jihadist terror. And if Israel does not succeed in eradicating Hamas's terror capabilities, the whole world will pay the price. In fact, the world is already paying the price. Just look at the terror attack perpetrated in France this morning. Look at the list of the hostages' various nationalities, 21 Americans, 9 French, and the list goes on. This is a global atrocity. Hamas's genocidal ideology, like ISIS or Al-Qaeda, is not just about destroying Israel. It is ultimately about world domination. It is about bringing the jihad war to the soil of each and every one of your countries. It's about our values, our way of life. The entire free world must participate in this struggle. We must wholeheartedly defend Israel's right to defend itself. Because if Israel's hands are tied, if the false narrative that we are hearing gains prevalence, this will signal the downfall of the free world. This cannot happen. We cannot let this happen. Friends, I'm being frequently asked, but why did Hamas do this? They must have known that Israel would respond swiftly and harshly. Why did they do it? The answer is twofold. One, their charter explicitly calls for the annihilation of Israel and the murder of all Jews. This is a genocidal ideology, just like the Nazis, and it is not something that we should begin to analyze through rational lens. It is sadly their interpretation of their religion. But it is not only about their ideology. it's also, yes, about their rational understanding based on the past. Hamas committed their large-scale atrocity because they rely, and I'm sorry from what I am about to say, rely on the UN, as it has done in the past, to come to their aid. They believe that the international community will now tie the hands of Israel from erasing Hamas's terror infrastructure. Hamas wants the world to disavow Israel's right to self-defense so that they can maintain their capabilities and carry out another such atrocity again. I reiterate, our right to self-defense means ensuring such horrors are never repeated. And the only way to ensure this is by obliterating Hamas's terror capabilities. This is precisely why they build their terror infrastructure within civilian areas. They know that the moment after they brutally slaughter over 1,000 Israelis, some UN bodies will come running to Hamas's rescue by trying to prevent Israel from obliterating its terror infrastructure. We cannot let the terrorists win. We cannot let them use us as pawns to defend them. We cannot continue allowing them to cynically exploit our own rules and our own values to plan our very own destruction. Following Israel's advance warning that was given last night to the residents of northern Gaza, recommending them to temporarily move south of Wadi Gaza to mitigate civilian harm, the UN should be praising Israel for these precautionary actions. For years, the UN has put its head in the sand in the face of Hamas's terror buildup in Gaza. As resources and funds poured into Gaza and went straight into Hamas's terror coffers, the UN stayed silent. As Hamas dug terror tunnels under residential neighborhoods, the UN stayed silent. While Gazan schools and hospitals became Hamas rocket launch pads, the UN stayed silent. And now that Israel gives Gaza's civilian population advanced warning to evacuate areas, as we cherish life and do all what we can to minimize civilian casualties, the UN prefers to condemn these preventive measures and again put pressure on the side defending civilization. Friends, this is absurd. Terrifying absurd. The UN should aim to minimize collateral damage, but in the same breath condemns civilian evacuation. Temporary evacuation is reversible. Loss of human life is not. What we all hear is not the UN's concern for civilians. What we hear is the UN's indifference to the murder of 1,300 Israelis. The UN is making it clear that it doesn't want Israel to defend itself. Friends, in mere hours, the Security Council will convene to discuss the humanitarian situation in Gaza. The Security Council's moral compass must guide it to, first and foremost, address the 150 hostages kidnapped in blatant violation of international law. This is the humanitarian situation that today's meeting should be focused upon. Dear colleagues, please look at these families. See the human toll of this atrocity. I urge you, look at these families and please listen to their words. Listen to their stories. For 18 years, Hamas has ruled the Gaza Strip, and for 18 years they have exploited every inch to turn Gaza into their terror machine. They squandered all humanitarian resources for their war chest. They ripped water pipes out of the ground to turn them into rockets. They indoctrinated their children to hate and promote terror. We all saw the thousands of Gazans cheering as they paraded bodies and women that were raped through the streets. Hamas was democratically elected by the people of Gaza. We shouldn't forget this. Don't look away. Hamas, the genocidal jihadist terror group, bears the sole responsibility for everything that happens in Gaza. I will conclude with a very clear message. The UN and the Security Council are facing one of their most pivotal moments. Will they remain true to their founding values, or will they empower genocidal terrorists? This shouldn't be a question. It is good against evil, light against darkness, life against death, and the choice should be crystal clear. Friends, Israel will complete its mission. We will, God willing, continue until Hamas's capabilities are obliterated. We will, God willing, continue until the hostages are safely back home. We will succeed in the fight for civilization. This is our never again moment, our shared never again moment. And Israel needs your friendship and solidarity now more than ever. Israel is strong, resilient, and our resolve cannot be broken. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.